and welcome to another episode of the Marco Podcast,
a show dedicated to the realness of organization and entrepreneurship. This space was created for every woman who needs motivation or inspiration to get organized and to keep going after her dream. I'm your host, Angel J. Sit back and prepare for valuable tips, resources, laugh, and much more. If this is your first time here, welcome, and thanks for joining. If you've been hanging around for a while, welcome back, and I hope you brought a friend. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode. Today, I am talking with Dani Rosenblad James. Dani is the force behind Misfit Wanders, a platform dedicated to promoting eco-conscious travel and sharing stories of nature's wonders in diverse cultures. Her commitment to responsible and immersive travel experiences shines through her blog posts, leaving an undeniable mark on the travel community. She is driven by the desire to inspire and uplift others through her remarkable journey. Her path has been marked by challenges, including a life-altering traumatic brain injury, which ignited a profound transformation. Originally, she embarked on unconventional adventures, hitchhiking, and working as a weed farmer. However, her purpose took a new direction as she discovered her passion for travel, cultural exploration, and sustainability. Everyone, let's welcome Dani. Hi, Dani. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And so, before we get started, I always forget to ask this question. Can you tell everyone where I am talking to you at? Or, well, I know that you said that you are actually traveling right now. So, where are you? So, where do you normally lay your head at?
Well, normally I'm in the countryside in Sweden, so I'm usually surrounded by forests and nature. Said he'd be on baby duty for the weekend so I could have a girls' night in the big old city that's an hour away or so.
Okay, awesome. So, well, you are my first international guest. So, congratulations and thank you.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. So, Dani, you are a travel blogger. How long have you been a travel blogger and how did you get started?
Oh, I think it's been around over 5 years, a little bit on and off throughout that time. Originally, I actually started it, I think about 10 years ago.
Oh, cool.
And I went to Peru to meet up with my friend who's my husband now.
Aw.
And we traveled together for a week, and then we traveled separately for the rest of the time. And it was only a couple years ago I learned that, yeah, and me being me, I'm like, oh, that's weird. You're going the same route as me. Oh, strange. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because there are so many the hostels that I'd be staying at, a lot of the people staying there were kind of going like the same route for the most part. So
Okay.
I didn't think anything of it. And then oh, you're lucky I liked you.
Right. Right. Yeah. But that's and I'm glad that it worked out and it was a mutual, mutual likeness there. So okay. So what made you want to take it from doing just kind of like writing in your journal to taking it online and sharing it with the world?
Well, I think I learned that I could make it into a travel blog, and that never crossed my mind until I think I stumbled upon reading a little bit about travel bloggers or something. And I was like, oh, I could do that. I could help inspire people, give them some of my experience in written form so they could learn from it. And so that's when I turned it into an actual travel blog. And nowadays it's more dedicated to hikes in the outdoors in Sweden, but I've been branching out to other countries as well.
When you branch out to other countries, are you just going by yourself, or is there like a travel group that you go with as well? Or is it just, hey, I want to go this place and I'm going to dock?
I'm kind of spontaneous.
Okay.
So I'm, hey, hubby. And then later on in that year, I'm like, hey, hubby, what about this place? And he's just like, oh my gosh. But yeah, originally it was mostly solo trips for me. I did try a group trip one time because I just want to know how it felt and just to try it out. And it was great. It was only ladies for some reason. It just happened. A lot of us were in kind of the artist side of work. There are a lot of people in media that were on that trip and things like that.
Okay.
So it was really neat. It's not so much for me because I like, and then actually nowadays it's turned into family travel because we have a 2.5 and my husband comes and then sometimes my mom has been coming.
How does he do on like hikes and stuff like that?
Well, we have a Osprey backpack where he gets to sit in it.
Oh,
So that helped a lot.
riding, I guess, than actually doing any hiking or anything like that. He's enjoying
Yeah.
the easy way out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I think maybe this next year coming up, he'll probably be more on his feet and wanting to explore more because he'll be older.
How do you juggle being a travel blogger and going to all these different places, and then you're also an author and you're an influence and you're a business owner? So, how do you balance all of these things?
You know, I sometimes wonder. I know that scheduling has helped me a ton. I have to have almost my whole day scheduled. So me being able to come to the city for this weekend is amazing. I haven't had this kind of break for a year or so.
Okay. And
So
breaks
it's
are
like,
important.
yeah, so I'm kind of like, what am I supposed to do? And of course, I start doing some work stuff, and I'm like,
Okay. So what so you're an author. So what type how many books have you written and what type of books have you written?
I actually wrote a recent book that is a children's picture book, and it's called The
Oh,
Lost Little Dragon.
okay.
Yeah, and then I'm actually working on an upcoming book now, and it's going to be loosely based on my traumatic brain injury and how I overcame it and how important nature was in my life.
Okay.
Mhm.
Awesome. I love that. Traumatic brain injury. Is that's how you got started with the traveling and in nature? Is that how you got started with it, or were you doing that before you had the TBI?
So the whole thing with the nature, I think that actually possibly started when I was really young because I pretty much grew up on road trip a lot because we have family all over the state. I would travel culture just in the states, and I think that's what also fueled me to love traveling. And I think it
Okay.
was like 6 months before.
And you're also an influencer. So what type of influencer are you?
Yeah, so I have over 10,000 followers on Instagram, and
Okay.
on there, it's nature I've been to and informs people of some of the places and how I go, and then how they should be traveling in a sustainable way, which
Okay.
means eco-friendly. Think about the environment when you're traveling, eat locally at those places, use tour companies that have good ideals, ethics that are great for the environment. Yeah, things like
Okay. And so you talked about it a little bit, but can you dive like just a little bit deeper into it when you say like eco-friendly traveling and
that.
sustainable traveling? Can you dive a little bit more into that?
Yeah, definitely. To help them create the trip that they want in an eco-friendly way. And that means that I'll help them find the right tour companies that they want to go with. I might have to have a few sessions with them to get all of the details and even help them make an itinerary if that's what they want.
Okay.
There are also people that maybe just want to learn more of how they can do this in a daily life. And I would recommend having a reusable water bottle, like a metal one or one that, you don't throw away, that you can just fill up with water. If you're
Mm.
traveling to a place that the water is not drinkable, then I would say bring a water filter with you, preferably that one that can be used in the water bottle. And
Okay.
then always have reusable utensils with you or one utensil. So it's just like
Okay.
just these little things help so much because then you're not adding to the plastic that we have worldwide. And then when you are visiting places, it's good to try to stay as local as possible. Stay at hotels, hostels, or Airbnbs or do couch surfing. There's like all these different options. Just when you're going to stay at a hotel or the bigger branches of things, it's good to research them and look into their ideals and if they are actually trying to help nature, which sustainable travel is becoming a bigger thing. More and more people are realizing how if they travel in certain ways, it actually damages the environment. And I think it's becoming more conscious for a lot of people, which is great.
I have noticed that like at hotels, it used to be years ago when you go to a hotel, every day they'd come in and they'd change your sheets and they would change your
Yeah.
towels and all of that. And now it's like you put the sign on the door if you want your room refreshed, or they'll only, depending on like how long your stay is, they'll only come in like every other day or every 3 days unless you ask them to come in. So I do see places doing things
Mhm.
like that to save on energy and stuff like
Yes.
that. So okay, so that's really cool. And is that's what your business is showing people how to travel, how to be eco-friendly when traveling?
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's like all combined with the travel blog.
And so how do you stay positive and consistent with all that you have going on?
Um, so I would have to say it's my self-care routine. That
Mhm.
is every day. So let me break let me break it down to you. I wake up with gratitude. So I think
Okay.
of something that I am thankful for, and it usually comes down to I'm thankful for having a house, to have a roof over my head, something simple like that. And that's where you pretty much are talking to yourself and you're like, you are worth it. You are great. And whatever else you need to pump yourself up for the day. Then let's see, then I do my daily walk, which is outside in nature since I have the forest all around me, which makes it great.
Yes.
And yeah, and then I do visualizations. So I visualize my future and I visualize it in a way that it's already happened. That could be,
Okay.
and then I do a gallon of water a day, watch what I eat, and stay positive throughout the day as much as I can, and end it with thank you.
Okay. I love it. And you have it all planned out. And
Mm.
so once you get into a routine, it's easier to stick with that routine and stay on top of it. So thank you for sharing your self-care routine with us.
Yeah.
And so, what are some of the places that you've been to? I know you said Sweden and some different places around there, but so what are some of the places that you've been to, and what's your favorite place that you've been to?
I've been to over 20 countries.
Okay.
I've been to, did you want me to name them all off?
I mean, you can name as many as you want to, or as little. Well, tell us your top five favorite ones that you've been to.
Okay, top five. So number one would have to be Peru, and that's because this is what inspired me to start my travel blog journey and traveling journey internationally. Second would have to be Bolivia, which was in that same trip. It's known as being such a poor place, but I've met the most nicest people I've ever met in my entire life there. I mean, I
Okay.
had a lady that was dressed up in a business suit when me and this American girl that I had met, we were lost. So we were asking her directions and she just had us follow her. She bought us food and then she pointed us in the right direction. And we're just like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, that was very nice of her.
Yeah. And just like really went out of her way and just helped us. And it was like, we didn't need the food and she just gave it to us. I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was really nice. Okay.
Oh,
So Peru, Bolivia.
yep. And then I would say Croatia. And that
Okay.
one was the one that I did as a small group trip that was with all these females. So on this trip, my father had passed away, and I found out on this trip. So it was
Oh
really
no.
heartbreaking. But what helped me through this were the ladies I was traveling with. They were so supportive, and all of them were trying to be there for me. One of the ladies that lives in Croatia, she actually gave me a candle because one of the places we went to was like a viewpoint that had a cross and everything. She's like, here you go if you want to say your goodbyes to him. And she's like, this is something we do here in Croatia. And I was just like in tears. I'm like, oh, thank you. And so I got to say goodbye to him in that way. And that rest of the trip, I was, of course, super sad. But being with those ladies helped me and supported me to keep sticking with the trip.
That's very sweet and very beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're at, let's see, that was the third. I really enjoyed Norway. Norway
Oh,
has loads of beautiful hikes. They have Pulpit Rock. And then they have a bunch of other ones here and there. So my husband and I actually went on a road trip there and we did the scenic of the place. Then we also got to experience all these hikes. So it was a hiker's dream.
okay. Okay, cool. And you said it was called Troll Tongue?
Yeah, that's what the one formation is called, the trolls, because it looks kind of like a tongue off of the mountain.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna Google it. So I wanted to make sure that I had
Yeah,
the right name because I want to Google because I want to see it. So okay, I just want to make sure I
yeah,
had it correct there.
yeah.
Okay.
Or you can write troll. You should be able to find it either or. It's Trolltunga is like how you would say it in Norwegian or Swedish.
Okay. Cool.
So the last one, let's see. I would have to say, oh boy. Oh, it's so hard. I think that would actually have to be Cambodia.
Okay.
Um, and I think that's because the
Yes.
culture that they have there and the experiences that I got to experience when I was traveling there. I traveled there with my niece and we went and saw many of the temples there. We saw Angkor Wat. We got to go on several tuk-tuk rides, and this one tuk-tuk driver gave us an interesting experience where he brought us to this house village area and we got
Oh.
to see them make noodles and
Oh,
everything.
cool.
And it was
Okay.
just like it was really cool. It was unexpected, but it was still really nice. And yeah, the people were
Oh,
very nice there. And I realized that it's not so nice to say no thank you to them. You're kind of just always supposed to be like, oh, thank you. Um, since there was this old lady that was trying to give us roasted crickets. And I was kind of
oh,
like, oh, no, thank you.
no, thank you.
And so
Yeah.
she kept being like, yes, yes. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Okay. You didn't have to eat them right there. Did you just take them and like get rid of them later, or what did you do?
Oh, I didn't realize that that was rude of me to say no, thank you.
Oh,
So
okay.
it was afterwards, and I was like, oh, I felt bad that I did that to the old lady.
Okay, got yeah, I don't I might have had to I would have had to say no thank you too. I don't know. I'm willing to try a lot of different foods, but I think roasted crickets might be where I draw where I draw the line at there. So, yeah. And you said it was called a tuk-tuk driver?
Yeah,
So
it's
is that kind of like a Uber or a taxi driver or
so it's like a bike, a bicycle or a
Oh.
motorcycle that has a cart that's connected to it.
Okay, okay, I know
Mm.
what you're talking about. I've seen those before. Okay, cool. And you mentioned something earlier that I just rethought of again. So you said that one way to kind of travel sustainably is to do like couch surfing. Is
Mhm.
that something that you have done a lot of? And is there like a way to connect with people who allow you to sleep on the couch, or how does that work?
I've actually never done it. I've had friends that have done it loads. I think that you can just type in couchsurfing.com or something or Google it and you should be able to find the platform that they have for that.
Okay.
There's also woofing that you can do, and that's where you go to people's properties and you work for you work on their property for however many hours that they say over the time frame.
Oh,
And so
okay.
it's really nice that you have a free place to stay, and then sometimes they will even cook food for you for a meal or something.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Mhm.
And is that only over in Sweden, or is that something that's like worldwide, or do you know?
It's worldwide.
It's worldwide. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you. Well, Danny,
Yeah.
what advice would you give to someone who is interested in starting a traveling blog or interested in becoming an influencer?
I'd have to say that if you want to follow your dreams to become an influencer or a travel blogger, you have to stay consistent because your audience, they need to know that you're around and consistency is key. It's not like an influencer or a travel blogger grow within an instant. And a lot of things that seem to get unnoticed with travel bloggers is there's a lot of behind the scenes things that you have to do. You have to learn about SEO. You have to learn about making quality pictures, how to put in all of your, yeah, that you just don't know about unless if you're actually doing it. Plus, you need to update all of your articles pretty regularly, once a year at least. Then you also need to make sure that your website is working efficiently. So sometimes you have to update that with some things, always issues that pop up that maybe are sometimes out of your hands. So you have to get professional help. So there's a lot with it. And you always have to write for your audience. So there maybe is a story that you're like, oh, this would be a great story. Well, yes, you can write that story. However, you have to remember that you need to add in things that your audience, your specific audience for your specific niche are interested in. So, for example, for me, if I'm writing about a hiking trail, I always talk about the distance and the how hard it is, how long it usually takes, how to get there. If there's a lot of those hikes that you actually need to take a car to get to, which is kind of sad because it'd be great to take the train.
Okay,
And
got
then
you.
it's also good to know if that hike is not a good hike to do certain seasons or things like that as well.
Okay. Well, Dani, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us today before we go?
If you want to reach me, you can find me on misfitwanders.com. You can reach out me on Instagram, Misfit Wanders. I also am on TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, a little bit everywhere.
Okay, awesome. And I'll make sure to link all of that in the show notes. So, well, thank you so much, Dani. I have enjoyed this conversation and I hope that you enjoy your. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Modco podcast. I hope that you enjoyed this episode and learned something from it. Be sure to share this episode with a friend, family member, colleague, or anyone you think will enjoy it. Make sure you hit the follow or subscribe button. And if you love the podcast, please leave us a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcasting app. That helps others to find us and gets us listed in other show recommendations. So you all know that I run on coffee, and so does the show. If you'd like to buy us a coffee, you can do so by clicking on the link in the show notes. Thank you so much, and chat soon.